Hi, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to tell you the real story of my friend Lena. The story they don't want you to know. The story about how she tried to do the right thing and got crushed for it, only to fight back in a way no one saw coming. Lena was amazing, smart, dedicated, worked her way up from an intern to senior project manager at NextGen Innovations in just 5 years. She lived and breathed that job. Loved the work, believed in the company's mission, or at least the mission it pretended to have. Her boss was Greg Henderson. Smooth-talking, always in a sharp suit, the golden boy of the regional division. Everyone thought he walked on water. Lena trusted him, looked up to him even. Then, about 8 months ago, Lena stumbled onto something while finalizing a budget report for Project Helios, Greg's pet project. Discrepancies. Big ones. Money allocated for environmental impact studies that were never commissioned. Payments to a subcontractor that didn't seem to exist in any official vendor list. Significant funds just vanishing. At first, she thought it was a mistake, maybe her error. But Lena wasn't like that. She dug deeper, cross-referencing invoices, purchase orders, bank transfers. Late nights, hushed phone calls to contacts. The deeper she went, the colder the pit in her stomach got. It wasn't a mistake. It looked like Greg was systematically siphoning funds, hiding it through bogus vendors and inflated costs. She came to me first, pale and shaking. Emma, what do I do? This is huge. Illegal. I told her she had to report it. Company policy, basic ethics, right? She agonized over it for days. She valued her career, respected the chain of command. Finally, she decided to go to Greg directly. Give him a chance to explain, maybe fix it quietly. Big mistake. I remember her coming back from that meeting. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. He just smiled. She whispered, her voice flat. Said I must have misinterpreted the data. That Project Helios had complex funding streams. Told me I was overworked. Maybe I should take some time off. He shut her down completely. But Lena couldn't let it go. The scale of it terrified her. So, reluctantly, she went to HR and filed a formal complaint, providing all her documentation. That's when the wheels really came off. Greg was prepared. Suddenly, Lena's performance issues surfaced. Old emails were dredged up where she'd questioned tight deadlines, perfectly reasonably. Minor project delays were magnified into major failures. Greg's right-hand man, Mark, someone Lena considered a friend, someone she'd helped countless times, suddenly started echoing Greg's criticisms. Lena seems overwhelmed, he'd say in meetings, avoiding her eyes. Maybe she's not cut out for this level of complexity. The betrayal stung worse than Greg's lies. HR, led by a woman named Linda, who played golf with Greg's wife, conducted a thorough investigation. They interviewed Lena like she was the suspect. They barely glanced at her evidence. Their report? Inconclusive findings regarding financial discrepancies. Concerns raised about Ms. Carter's management style and ability to handle pressure. The recommendation? A lateral move to a newly created role, junior data archivist. Basically organizing digital file cabinets. A massive demotion. A humiliating slap in the face. Her salary was cut. Her office became a cubicle in the basement next to the server room. I was furious. Lena was devastated. She cried for days. The light in her eyes just went out. She became a ghost in her own life, shuffling to her basement purgatory, ignored by former colleagues who suddenly couldn't meet her gaze. Mark wouldn't even take her calls. Greg paraded around like nothing happened. The injustice was suffocating. They silenced her. They broke her spirit. Or so they thought. Lena didn't break. She hardened. A cold, quiet fury settled over her. She stopped crying. She started watching. And listening. She noticed Greg loved to brag, especially when he thought no one important was around. He'd hold little strategy meetings in his office with Mark and a couple of other sycophants, often late, after most people had left. Lena's new basement cubicle? It was right below the vent that connected to Greg's office. The acoustics were surprisingly good if you knew where to sit. She started recording. Not constantly, just strategically. Using an old voice recorder app on a burner phone tucked away in her bag. She'd sit there, amidst the hum of the servers, headphones half on, looking like she was cataloging files, but listening. Really listening. And Greg, arrogant fool that he was, kept talking. He gloated about the Helios slush fund. He mocked Lena, calling her that naive little whistleblower wannabe. He detailed how he'd manipulated the HR investigation. He even joked about the fake subcontractor names he'd used, sounding incredibly pleased with himself. Mark chimed in with sycophantic laughter and the occasional yeah, she never stood a chance, Greg. They felt untouchable. Safe in their little echo chamber of corruption. Lena collected hours of this raw, damning evidence. She meticulously edited it down to a devastating 15-minute clip. Just Greg's voice, crystal clear, confessing to fraud, embezzlement, and the deliberate, malicious sabotage of Lena's career to cover it up. Mark's complicit chuckles were the sickening soundtrack. She stripped out all identifiers of her location, her voice, anything that could trace it back to her directly. Then, late one Sunday night, from a public library computer miles from her home, she uploaded it. She titled it simply, The Real Cost of Speaking Up at Next-Gen Innovations. Anonymous. Posted it to a popular video sharing site known for whistleblower content, then shared the link across multiple industry forums and local news tip lines under throwaway accounts. Then she waited. The silence the next morning at work was deafening. Greg strode in, same arrogant swagger. Mark was his usual smarmy self. Nothing. Lunchtime came and went. Lena felt sick. Had it been buried? Ignored? Had she risked everything for nothing? Then, around 2 p.m., whispers started. People were huddled at computers, phones out. Eyes darted toward Greg's office. His door was closed. I got a Slack message from a friend in marketing. Have you seen this video? The link was everywhere. By 3 p.m., it was trending locally. By 4 p.m., it was national business news. The video exploded. The raw, unvarnished ugliness of it. Greg's smug confession. The casual cruelty toward Lena. Mark's pathetic enabling. It was a grenade thrown into the pristine image NextGen cultivated. The comment section was a wildfire. People were furious, not just about the fraud, but about the blatant, brutal retaliation against someone who tried to do the right thing. #Justice for Lena started trending. Local news vans pulled up outside the building. Greg was summoned to the CEO's office. He never came back to his desk. Security packed his things. Mark tried to slink out early, but was cornered by reporters in the parking garage. The footage of him stammering, trying to cover his face, went almost as viral as the original video. The look of utter panic on his face? Priceless, in a horrifying way. The fallout was swift and brutal. NextGen launched a swift and independent investigation, now that the world was watching. Greg was fired immediately and is now facing multiple criminal investigations. Mark was suspended and then resigned. Half the HR department got cleaned out. The CEO issued a groveling public apology, specifically naming Lena and commending her courage, offering her reinstatement to her old position with back pay and a promotion. Lena? She took the back pay. She took a hefty settlement offer. But she didn't take her old job back. How could she? The place was toxic. The betrayal ran too deep. The friends who vanished, the colleagues who looked away, she couldn't unsee that. She used the settlement to start her own small consulting firm. She's doing incredibly well, on her own terms. She never publicly claimed the video. Officially, it remains anonymous. But people know. I know. And when we have coffee now, the ghost is gone from her eyes. There's a quiet strength, a resilience forged in that fire. They tried to bury her voice in the basement. So she used the silence down there to make sure the whole world heard the truth. It wasn't just revenge. It was justice. ripped from their grasping hands and broadcast for everyone to see. They demoted her for speaking up, biggest mistake they ever made, because it forced her to find a way to speak up louder than they could ever silence. And believe me, everyone heard.